Well, that's a perfect moment, I think, to introduce Miriam Cates, Conservative Member of Parliament for Penistone. And, of course, you've got a chunk of Barnsley in your constituency. Miriam, we saw previously with Michelle the hands up in the room. People are very, very disappointed. An 80-seat majority. You, part of this big red wall, these seats in many cases that have been Labour for years, and boom, you're all in, you're elected. What's gone wrong?
Well, I hope you'll just let me start with the positives very quickly first. So we have delivered Brexit, as you said, for a long time. That was in doubt. So I think we need to think back. We have actually done it. We have technically left the EU. I think the narrative that a lot of the media in Westminster peddles about our current economic problems being caused by Brexit is just not true. If you look at problems in other Western countries, so that's not true. You know, there are other reasons for our economic problems. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the freedoms, the sovereignty, the control of immigration that Brexit promised has not been delivered. And look at immigration. We are actually in control of immigration now. The problem is that we have allowed far too much immigration because we've set the bar too low.
And this is because the Conservative Party doesn't believe in it. I mean, today, Philip Hammond, you know, Chancellor of the Exchequer, former Chancellor of the Exchequer, says the way to bring inflation down is even more mass immigration. Isn't the truth of it that the Tory party supports, and the big businesses with them, they actually support this?
Well, the Conservative Party is a broad church, and there are elements within the party that do support that. You're right, and clearly the Treasury does. And the mechanism that the Treasury always reaches for when the labour market is tight is immigration. But that's a short-term solution. I wouldn't even say it's a solution. But there are plenty of others of us in the party that are pushing for much tighter controls on immigration, because at the end of the day, if we don't train up our own people, if we don't invest in our own skills, in our own capital, we'll never be productive. You know, there is a short-term pain in the labour market. There's no doubt about that. But to keep reaching for immigration, to keep reaching for cheap labour as well. But you're right. I mean, we haven't delivered on that. But there is a move now, I think, absolutely, to raise the bar in terms of who can come here. But it's not going to be easy.
I'm really sorry, Miriam. I heard all this in 2019, and you actually lowered the bar. You lowered the bar. Anybody on minimum wage from anywhere in the world can come into this country. And now I hear Rishi saying, he said in Prime Minister's questions yesterday, we're stopping the boats. Is he hell?
I agree with you, and I was one of the MPs who pushed for an amendment to the illegal migration bill to allow the Home Office to ignore these Section 35 notices from the European courts. With others in Parliament, I'm pushing for tighter controls on immigration. I know that, you know, that's no excuse for the party as a whole, but there are people within the party who absolutely acknowledge that and are pushing for it.
No, I get that, and I watch it very carefully, but you're in a minority. Why should, I mean, assuming the election's next October or whenever it's going to be, why should people vote Conservative next time?
Well, I think right now that is a good question. We've got a lot of work to do. No, I agree. The demands that were put on us in 2019, the reason that people voted for us in 2019, voted for you earlier on that year, voted for Brexit, you know, that demand for a new type of economy that works for places like Barnsley that have lost their industrial core because of the economic revolution we've seen over 30 years, people that voted for cultural security, that didn't like the way that Brussels and, frankly, Westminster have pushed ideologies on people that, you know, most people don't agree with. That demand is still there. You know, we've met it partially by delivering Brexit, by standing up on some of these issues, but I agree, we haven't fully delivered it.
All right.
That is the challenge to us.
That's a very frank, honest answer. I mean, it really, really is. Tough day. Interest rates up 0.5%. Anybody with mortgages, it's really, really hard. And I'm going to drill into that with Liam Halligan in a moment. I think, you know, tough times are coming for the economy.